It's time to become unstoppable with Mindset Coach Andre Nel, who joins us again this week here on eRadio. And this week, the mind continued discussing this amazing thing that you can never talk about too much. Andre is with us again. Andre, how's it going?
It's wonderful. I'm great. Again, I'm very happy, and I'm really happy to be here talking to you again, because I love these conversations with you.
Oh, thank you. Same here. No, I'm well, thank you so much. It's always a nice time of the week to talk about these things. And now, as we start off with the human mind that we're talking about, I've got a few interesting things for you. But this is like in general about the human mind, actually the brain facts that will blow your mind. Are you ready for this?
Okay. I'm ready, yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so did you know that your short-term memory can only store 7 pieces of info for 20 seconds? It's like a temporary little storage facility that you've got there. Did you know that?
7p, I didn't know that, yeah. What classifies as info, do you think? 7 pieces of information.
It's probably just a telephone number or something that you have to remember when somebody gave it to you, and you quickly have to put it in your phone. Like, I think it's probably that gap between hearing it and then putting it into your phone, just remembering it. I've got to work on that because mine has really gotten worse over the years. I just, when somebody gives me a number, and especially if they give it too quickly, I just lose it. I can't carry on with it. But then I got to ask for the number again.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm single.
About that I'll bring up. The first one is that, on TV shows where they're like, oh yeah, my credit card number is 764-213-55467, and I live at 73700 Hanson Road. And then, like, the other person immediately just stores all that information. And
yeah, it's not realistic.
Fight, they get concussed, they get beat up, they jump out of a building, and they still end up at the right address.
Only in the movies, Andre. Only in the movies. It's not realistic, eh?
Another thing, when you brought up numbers, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with Chinese language. But since we are speaking about, mind and recalling things in your short-term memory, there's actually a linguistic reason why you could say that Chinese people are better at math, or at least memorizing numbers and things like that. Do you happen to have a guess as to why that is?
Not at all.
Short-term memory.
Not at all. No, but you're going to tell us now.
Should I? Or should I just keep it a secret?
No, please tell us.
Okay, so in Chinese, all of the numbers are one-syllable numbers. They're one-syllable sounds. So I'm gonna speak Chinese now, so don't get a fright. So 1 is yi, and 2 is r, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 1 to 8. So yeah, so all of those numbers are quite short, right? Like, it's just E. It's like a mosquito sound, basically. E, R, sun. They're very short. If you think of, like, the number 7, 7 already has 2 syllables, whereas the Chinese word for 7 is 1 syllable. So what ends up happening is that you can string a longer string of numbers together in Chinese simply because it's less syllables to remember and to pronounce again. Does that make a bit of sense?
Yeah, I'm just very impressed that you know how to count in Chinese, Andre. I didn't know that about you. That's very cool.
I can count to 909. I can count to 1,000. I don't think I can say 1,001.
What? That's crazy. Well done. But you live in China now. How long have you been there?
What's that?
How long have you been in China?
4 and a bit. Yeah, 4 years.
Yo, that's not bad, eh? You can count already.
What's 2024 minus 2020? 4 years.
Yeah,
right?
4 years. That's not bad at all that you can count in Chinese already. I think that's brilliant. Well done.
Yeah. Even so the Chinese word for 11 is 10 and 1. So 10 is shi, and then 1 is yi. So shi yi is 11. She is much
She
quicker and easier to say than 11.
11,
Like if you
yeah.
break it up.
She
So if you had to, and if you think of like seven, and qi, which is Chinese for seven, it's you can say a lot more cheese in 10 seconds than what you can say sevens in
yeah,
10
chi.
seconds.
That's cool. I like it. Chi.
So not to be stereotypical, but it's a linguistic reason why, memorizing timetables and things like that could be easier for Chinese people because their numbers are simply easier to say.
This is so impressive. You know what else? There's another mind-blowing fact here for you now. Did you know that your brain, if it had to be a computer, it would be able to hold 2.5 million gigabytes or 300 years of TV shows?
Whoa.
Is your mind blown? It really is.
That is amazing. Yeah. I'm thinking about what TV shows I would save in there,
Yeah, like anything you can possibly think of for 300 years. 2.5
Wow.
million gigabytes. That is insane. If your brain. And I mean, look at the size of your brain. It's much smaller than a hard drive, actually.
Tiny. It's tiny and comparable, yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, if we can bring it back to the mind for a second, besides the fact that my mind's blown. So what happens is when you're presented with all this information, in your environment, what happens is your mind actually has to break down, billions and billions of bits of information in order for your conscious mind, your brain, to actually make sense of it. So I can imagine, how much information gets lost if you break down, let's say, I think it's 4 billion bits of information down to a few thousand bits of information per second. Imagine how much information gets lost in that process, and then relate that to how much you still perceive and how much meaning you can still find in every single second of every single moment. Just think about that for a second, because that's what happens. Just think about how much information must actually enter your mind for most of it to be lost, yet we still see the world and we still see such complex patterns going on everywhere around us. Our brain's still doing all those computations, every single second. It's worthy of silence, basically. That's how mind-blowing it is.
It is, and no wonder we're tired at night. Sometimes you didn't do something physically, so you just collapse on your bed, because you don't realize how busy that mind of yours was this whole day.
This is why the biggest thing you can do to change your life is to change your beliefs. And I'm saying this in that it's not easy, but it's the most effective thing that you could do. Because what happens is when you get all this information through your senses, it first filters through your subconscious mind. Okay. So we touched a bit about this last week, but your subconscious mind is made up of your beliefs mostly, your emotions, your conditioning, your values, your attitudes, all of these things that have been automatically programmed into you. They become your filters. So if you can kind of like imagine a funnel in front of you, your senses, all your 5 senses are picking up this information and they're filtering it mainly through your beliefs. So all the information that gets lost between your senses perceiving it and between your conscious mind, like you becoming aware of it, mainly it's lost due to your beliefs. So everything that doesn't fall in line with your beliefs gets deleted or distorted or generalized in some way so that it makes sense, so that it fits your map or your model of the world, like how you perceive the world. And so the biggest way to start seeing and experiencing the things that you want to have in your life is actually to change your beliefs, because that means you're changing the filters that your mind is using to break down all that information. And let's say you have a belief that you'll never be wealthy. What's going to happen? Your mind or your senses might perceive opportunities for you to become wealthy or opportunities at least to move in that direction. But as soon as it enters your mind and your mind thinks, hang on a second, we have this belief, it just goes through like a program. Okay, we've got this belief I'm never going to be wealthy, so automatically we delete that thing out of our mind. Can you imagine how many opportunities and how much we lose out on simply because our beliefs are not aligned with our desires or our vision for our life? Does that
Exactly.
make sense?
Yeah, no, it's so true what you're saying there, Andre. Wow, it's actually quite frightening, to be honest with you.
I mean, that's why you have to, and we're not aware of these beliefs because some of it gets conditioned and programmed into you, like we spoke about last week,
Exactly.
from from the womb, from your parents, from just your culture or society, that you'll never be rich, or you'll never be successful, you can never have a business. But the question that I ask in return, and what I really focused on a lot in my own like self-development work recently, is, if that guy can have a successful business, why can't I? If Elon Musk can be worth like billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, why can't I be worth 1 million? We're both people. In fact, Elon Musk was born in South Africa. I'm a South African. You're a
Exactly.
South African.
That's your head start.
That's your head start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're all people. The only difference is in kind of the results we've achieved, but the resources that we have, the world we live in, it's the same. It's the same. It's just our beliefs
Yeah.
translated into results. That's all it is. So I focused a lot on that recently. Like, whatever I want, if somebody else has that, 100% I can have that too. And that's the kind
I
of
like
belief
that.
system that you need to cultivate, because there's no reason why somebody else has something that you can never have. In fact, the only reason that there could be for that is because you believe it. If you believe that's true,
it.
it's true. If you believe it's not true, it's not true. It's just all about your beliefs.
So once again, very careful what you say to yourself, because the way you talk to yourself, that's also something we covered in a previous podcast. It's so important because what you say to yourself, those inner conversations, can really make or break you.
Yeah, that's the power we have. That's how we turn what is, the static energetic field. That's how we turn it into something dynamic, what could be potential, by the way that we talk to ourselves, the thoughts that we have, and the pictures we hold in our mind that we consciously create. That's how we start to make our mind dynamic, our energetic field dynamic, and that's what's going to determine what you attract into your life. Because there's a very famous law called the law of vibration, which I touched on last week as well. It's that we're all beings that vibrate, and the speed at which we vibrate is what we call our frequency. I'm sure in the radio business, I don't need to tell you about frequency.
Oh no.
But we attract things. You can attract things that are at the same frequency or lower, right? So you can't attract something that's above the frequency that you're vibrating at. And the best way to kind of increase your vibrational frequency and thereby to attract better things into your life is by holding the right pictures in your mind, by speaking to yourself positively, by turning your thoughts to what you would like to have. And as soon as something negative comes up, like my coach, when he trained me, he told me 3 words: delete, delete, delete. Thank you for telling me, but delete, delete, delete. I refuse to believe this. Instead, I believe this, this, and this. And by doing that slowly, you can increase your it's actually your level of consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and so you can attract better things into your life.
So, Andre, have you, seen in your personal life how big a difference this makes as well? Apart from seeing it in your clients, have you seen it in your own life as well?
I have, yeah. This year has been by far one of the best years of my life. And to put that into context, I already feel like I've been successful in life. I already feel like, I've achieved wonderful things. But by far, this year has been just one of the best years of my life already. And it's only March, I feel like I've already done what in a whole year last year, I've done, in 3 months' time. It's been amazing. Being invited to be on this podcast with you, starting my own other podcast, just the way my coaching business has grown, My other business has grown, just my personal development has grown, and it's because I've, last year, to get personal, last year was a great year as well, but there were times where I lost touch with what do I need to do as a person
Mm.
in order to attract right things into my life? What beliefs do I need to hold? How do I need to see myself? How do I need to see the world? Because here's the thing, the way you see others is the way you see yourself. Your mind is very selfish. It only knows you. It doesn't know other people. So the way when you get angry towards others or frustrated towards others or you judge them, you're judging yourself. And on
Wow.
the same side, that same coin is that when you're kind to others, what's going to happen? Your mind thinks that you're kind to you. And so I
I
worked
didn't know
really,
this.
really hard
Wow.
on being kind to myself and reading a lot and really listening to people who know the mind infinitely more than what I do. They have so much more knowledge than I have about the mind. I really listened and focused on that. And as soon as I did, there's a period of time where you do work and you don't feel like anything changes, but like boom, it just clicks in, and that's what happened to me this year. I've been so successful and so happy and so kind, and it's not me like, blowing my own horn. It's just me being honest about how I feel and how I perceive my life right now.
No, it's
And
very
everything that
inspiring.
yeah, I just try to be positive about it. And what comes back to me is positivity, you know? And that, yeah, I've seen it in my own life, for sure, for sure.
Just quickly want to ask you, Andre. It's not easy to be positive. Do you stay away from the news and seeing what's happening in the world? Because when we do that, when we see what's happening in the world at the moment, it's so depressing and very, very hard to stay positive. So do you avoid the news at all?
I can't remember when last I watched the news. South African news, Chinese news, international news. I have no idea what's going on, man. Like, I don't know what songs are popular right now. I don't know who bombed who. I don't know anything. You know, I have no idea. And you know what? I'm still happy. I still feel like I know what I need to know
Well, that's
in
why
order
you're
to,
happy, because you don't watch the news or read the news. But, all I can say to you is, in case you were wondering, load shedding is still happening in South Africa. That
I'm
hasn't
well aware of
changed.
it. Well,
If
I
you were
even heard
wondering.
of like water shedding,
Oh,
where
yes,
they
in the big cities, they've got water shedding as well. And then something else you probably need to know is that we have our elections in May. So that's
yeah,
probably all you need
I'm
to
voting
know.
all the way from China.
Oh, you
I'm gonna be
are?
voting.
Okay. Wow, that's cool. I didn't even know you can do that from China. That's
I
very, very
think
cool.
I think I'm actually voting before you guys are. What day is
Wow.
your voting?
Isn't it the 29th of May or something?
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
think we're voting a little bit before then.
Okay, well,
I'm
that's
not 100%.
nice. That's very
But you
cool.
bring up an interesting point now because I mean we could probably have a whole podcast episode about this, and maybe we should. But South Africans have a whole boatload of beliefs about South Africa, about the government, about just every part
Ooh,
of life.
yes.
And not a lot of those beliefs are positive. I'm not
I
sure what your experience,
haven't. Yeah, no, they're all
but
negative, to be honest, Andre.
yeah. So one of the things I've actually worked on, which has been really, really difficult, is building positive beliefs about South Africa, about South Africans. And part of that was for selfish reasons for me to grow my business, because if I'm going to be working with South Africans, number one, I need to believe that people have the money to afford coaching, or at least when they get to that point in their life where they need help or they want help or they're looking for help, they're going to be willing to pay. Sometimes if you really want something desperately, you'll find the money to pay for it, whatever it may be. So that's one of the beliefs I've had to work on. And I'm working with somebody now who for sure he has a few limiting beliefs about South Africa, and it's something that we're working on together because again, Not saying that I can control the president or control the government or fix the potholes with my mind. I wish I could, but I can't.
Please.
But please. It sounded so desperate and sad. But I get your feeling, yeah. Please. All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 2 fingers on my right hand, 2 fingers on my left hand, push it really hard against my head, and just tell me if the potholes go away and tell me if the construction stops.
Nope. Yeah. Not yet. Maybe there's a bit of a delay.
But what I'm saying is, imagine how powerful it would be if 10% of South Africans started believing differently about South Africa and about our country and about the people who live there, about our government. And, I mean, I don't think it's a secret that there's corruption. I'm sure we can talk about that. I don't know. Stop me if I need to stop speaking.
No, not at all.
We have these beliefs, and I'm not saying that one person can change, that by themselves. But if it starts to increase the collective consciousness, the collective belief of South Africans, I think it's a really powerful force for change. Something that we all need to work on. And if not, if it doesn't result in any, collective change, but if it only helps you as an individual to feel better about your life, like we spoke about, I think it's 2 or 3 episodes ago, the right mindset is a helpful mindset. Being frustrated or angry probably isn't helpful. It might drive you towards constructive action. But the right mindset is a helpful mindset. And even if your belief system, if you change it just so that it helps you a bit more, I feel like that's the right mindset to have. And it might encourage others to do the same. And if 10 or 20 or 30% of South Africans start going down that path, I believe it's a powerful force for change.
So true, Andre. And then obviously for our South African listeners listening, you can also help them with that mindset about South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. I do a lot of work about beliefs and self-talk and just, the general way that you're thinking, the pictures that you're holding in your mind. My program, it's wonderful. It covers, whenever people ask me what it's about, I just tell them it's about everything, because it's about your mindset, and your mindset is everything, and it's a real powerful system that can create change. It's created change in my life, and it's created change in other people's lives. And I'm saying this because I know it's true, whether other people believe me or not. I know it is, and I would love to help as many people as possible, because I feel unstoppable, and I want everybody else to feel unstoppable. I want us all to be unstoppable together. And whether you choose to use the word unstoppable, or whether you feel invincible, or whatever word you want to describe to that feeling of love for your life and love for yourself and purpose and just energy, where you feel like you could accomplish your greatest desires, I'm here, and I'm equipped to help. So Andre Nel Coaching, that's how you can find me on my website, www.andrenelcoaching.com. You can send through your questions on this podcast, and I'd love to help in any way I can.
What a nice guy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take the compliment. In no way, in no way am I perfect. I know our conversation, people might assume certain things. I'm not perfect. All I can say is I'm happy, and I feel unstoppable, and I feel like whatever you feel, it's the truth, Your feelings are, I read something the other day, your feelings are it's like a translated version of what your subconscious mind is like, think of what state of being you're in, If you feel, you feel horrible, you feel stuck, well, it's probably because something's not right. Something's happening that shouldn't be happening. And if you feel great, whether other people think it's true or not, or whether you can explain it or not, it just means you're on the right path.
Yeah.
So trust feelings, Trust your feelings.
Andre, thank you so much. And of course, once again, our WhatsApp line for our listeners who want to send in their thoughts and comments and maybe give us some suggestions on what you'd like us to talk about. We'll post it with the podcast, but it's 061 253 0670. And if you want to stay anonymous, you can stay anonymous too. You don't have to say your name, or we might see it when you send the WhatsApp, but just let us know if you want to stay anonymous, and that's fine with us as well. How do you feel about that, Andre?
Yeah. I'm really happy. I would love any questions, because I want to know what other people want to know. I want to help other people get what they already want to get. So please, I'm asking nicely with the cherry on top, a pretty please. If you have any questions, anything that you're wondering, please send it through.
Excellent. Yeah. So looking forward to that.
There's one more thing
next week.
I want to say. There's one more thing, really quick, and it's free. It's free. If you're thinking about getting coaching, I offer a first coaching session for free, like a discovery coaching session. And I believe most other coaches do the same. So if anybody is wondering, if you're wondering what is coaching all about, contact me. There's a free session there for you, or any other coach. Most coaches offer a free session, just to get started, so you can understand the process. So if somebody's perhaps feeling some fear or doubt, or they're just uncertain, it's free. It's literally free to get started and just to have a conversation like we're having a conversation now. It's not much scarier than that, if I can put it nicely.
Yeah, and it's so nice to talk to Andre. He's such a easy to talk to person, very accessible and very understanding. I think that's so important as well, Andre. We thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Very kind. Thank you.
Very true. Awesome. Andre, until next week. Yes, thanks for helping us to become unstoppable. Every single week we're getting closer and closer to that goal.
Woo! I'm excited.
Same here.
Thanks so much. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
Thank you. See you next week.